Big changes announced in Australian immigration. Visa quotas to be cut and major changes straight from the Migration Institute of Australia's National Conference. Are your migration plans about to change? Stay tuned to find out. I'm Chris Johnston from Work Visa Lawyers. We share accurate and reliable information about Australian immigration to help you to plan a permanent residency application. Welcome to our monthly immigration news. We have almost 70,000 subscribers. If you're not a subscriber yet, please subscribe and help us to hit 70,000. In today's update, you'll hear about 3 big immigration updates: skilled visa cuts, processing delays, and where are the opportunities. We'll make some suggestions. So let's start off with migration quotas and state nominations. There's an up to 30% cut for state nominations. As many of you know, the federal government has announced a total of 185,000 permanent residency migration places for the financial year. Unfortunately, the federal government has not yet released the full allocation numbers for each state and territory. But it looks like state allocations are going to be smaller due to the backlog they are facing on the system and the many visas that are still in the system. Western Australia Premier Roger Cook, for example, is trying to avoid the reduction from 5,000 places for WA to 3,500. He has written to the federal government urging them to reconsider cutting WA's skilled migration places. So if Western Australia is getting a 30% reduction, I would expect the same for all of the other states apart from Queensland. Last year, Queensland had a tiny allocation of just 1,200, so I would expect Queensland to have more this year to balance with everyone else. At the moment, only small temporary numbers have been provided so far, called interim allocations, which allow states to invite a limited number of Subclass 190 and 491 visas. Many states have already published their eligibility criteria for the financial year, and some are already open to submit expressions of interest. We will do a separate video on the state sponsorship requirements to keep you up to date on that. So where is the government's attention focused in terms of migration policy? The answer seems to be in relation to deportations and visa cancellations. Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke confirmed that the first transfer had occurred in relation to deportations to Nauru. This transfer triggers an upfront payment of $408 million to the Nauru government for these resettlements. Human rights groups have criticised the deal, which is expected to cost $2.5 billion overall. There is also news in relation to disgraced Dutch beach volleyballer Steven van der Velde, who is a convicted sex offender. He has been barred from entering Australia to play in the World Championships. These are the types of cancellations which the Minister's powers under Section 501 are designed for. Now let's look at some of the key information revealed in the Migration Institute of Australia's National Migration Conference, which was held in Melbourne, which I attended together with one of our lawyers from Work Visa Lawyers, Shamsia. It was great to catch up with colleagues and to hear all the latest from stakeholders and decision makers in the migration industry. Visa processing and backlogs. According to Damien Kilner from the Department of Home Affairs, as of October 2025, there are approximately 58,186 employer-sponsored visa applications pending for the annual target of 44,000. That means longer processing times for the 186 permanent residency visa. There are also 98,000 partner visas pending for the annual target of 40,500. This means partner visa backlog is growing by about 25,000 applications per year, and without major reforms, waiting times could reach up to 5 years. We are also aware that there are further delays in relation to the 491s and 190s in the program, and so overall there's not much good to be said about processing times. So let's talk about DAMAs. DAMAs are designated area migration agreements. The Department of Home Affairs says they favour full state DAMAs. So this means Tasmania may get their own DAMA agreement. Queensland, New South Wales and Victoria may get full state DAMAs rather than having a patchwork of DAMAs around their states. Another interesting feature is we got to see some politicians having a go at each other. Julian Hill, MP, Assistant Minister for Citizenship and Multicultural Affairs, spoke at the event. He discussed the challenges of rebuilding a coherent migration system after years of underinvestment and inconsistent policies. Hill confirmed that net overseas migration, or NOM, is now falling by more than 40% and returning to pre-COVID levels. He also reaffirmed that international students play a crucial role in supporting 250,000 Australian jobs. He said that despite the rising rhetoric, he made it clear Australia is not facing mass migration. Our borders remain tightly controlled. He said that the Liberals were both terrified of cuddling up to one nation and also calling for massive cuts to migration, but never saying how or where that should occur. He said, as people know in this room, there's no magic pudding. He asked the question, what exactly are the Liberals planning to cut, and will they be honest about the impact on Australia and the economy? Later in the day, Liberal Senator Paul Scar, Shadow Minister for Immigration, spoke at length. He tried to position the Liberal Party towards the centre and to praise the value of migration and civilised debate. He said, our immigration policy must be in the national interest. But more than that, the debate in relation to immigration policy must be conducted in a way which is also in our national interest. He said that it must not seek to inflame emotion. Paul Scar raised the following in relation to the Labor government policies. He asked for more transparent migration program, perhaps alluding to the lack of announced allocations. He asked, where did the previously announced multi-year planning go? He also raised the extended processing times for the Skills in Demand 482, which is exceeding those that were announced through the migration strategy. To sum up the politics, it was entertaining to see Labor and Liberal criticise each other. It seems like both sides of politics make some good points when criticising each other. But it would be much better again if we actually had definite migration policies and allocation numbers so everyone knows what's going on. Certainty and predictability is what's needed to support Australian businesses and regional areas with skill shortages. It's needed to give confidence to the applicants themselves as well. So after this negative news, backlogs in processing, potential cuts, where are the opportunities? The clear trends from Direction 105 are visas in health and teaching. They get priority, and so they're likely to get invitations for 190s, 189s, 491s. And then there are the federal government and states favouring all the construction-related trades and professions. This is due to the housing crisis, and I can see consistent demand and opportunities in that area. But what if you're not in those industries? Then you're most likely going to have to look at employer-sponsored visas or partner visas or other things like training visas. And so there are some other growth areas at the moment. US citizens are moving to Australia. There's been a small but noticeable increase in protection visa applications from US citizens between August 2024 and July 2025. According to the Home Affairs data, you can see the Freedom of Information stuff behind me. We've also seen many partner applications for US citizens who are married or partnered with Australian citizens. So there is definitely a trend of US citizens coming to Australia. This trend reflects the growing interest from the USA in migration pathways to Australia. The National Innovation Visa is also an area that's attracting a lot of interest. The National Innovation Visa, or NIV, targets high-level global talent and entrepreneurs in key industries. This month we received a National Innovation Visa grant, which we're very happy with because it's hard to get. The application was in critical technology sector, it was focused on cybersecurity, and it was processed very quickly. It was lodged in August and granted in October, so only 2 or 3 months. You can check for your eligibility for an NIV through our free assessment tool if you're interested in that visa. So that's the migration news at the moment. We're going to make a separate video with updates on state nomination criteria for the 190 and 491, which is also going to comment on what are the easiest states for this financial year. Subscribe for the latest news on Australian visas. See you soon.